fine.
Alright. The first question that we'll now take up is, does intelligence lead to disorder? Where your friend who raised that question? He was there.
Yet to come.
Yet to come. Alright. Still we'll proceed with it. Let's consider, does this bottle have water? You see this quantity of water? Can you just estimate the number of molecules within it? Not very difficult at all. If I tell you that this weighs around 50 gram, you can easily calculate the number of H2O molecules here, right? Matter of a minute. Correct? Now it may appear to be still. Don't disturb it, appears still. But what's actually going on within? What's actually going on within? Random motion, right? Random Brownian motion. What are the molecules all doing?
Colliding.
Bumping into each other. In a very mad way. Is there any order to it?
No.
That's the reason you are calling it random. Correct? There is transfer of momentum velocity going on all the time. Correct? Right? Now, let there be, but we also very well know that out of all the space that is being occupied here, molecules are actually occupying a very tiny fraction. Most of it is empty space. Do we know or do we not? Remember Bohr's experiment? That most of the space inside matter is actually empty space. Molecules actually occupy a very small fraction of the space. So this is an empty space of which say 1 by 100 or less than that fraction is being occupied by molecules. And still they are all bumping into each other. So remember, there is enough space for all molecules. There is enough space for all molecules. It's not as if this is overcrowded. Most of it is empty space. Most of it is empty space. Still the molecules are colliding with each other, right? Now, if I fill up this hall with students, say students like you, and I ask you to perform tasks which require continuous movement. I can do that. I can fill up this space much more, and this space is now packed with you people much more densely than the density of molecules in this space. If there are X molecules per unit space in this, then I can pack this space with a figure more than that. I can do that. And I ask you to do a few tasks. I ask the persons present over there to come over and do this painting all over again. I can ask some of you to clean these fans which require some movement in the z-axis. I may ask some of you to mop the floor, again a z-axis movement. I may ask some of you to whitewash the walls, which requires both z and y-axis movements. Correct? Getting it? All kinds of movements are required. One of you may be required to check up the wiring, whether everything is alright with the wiring. And if I do all of that, what will I see? Will I see you guys bumping into each other? Will I see you guys bumping into each other? Will you keep colliding with each other in the same way as these molecules do?
No.
Will you do that?
No.
Why will you not do that? I am not imposing any order. I have not given you any rule. Still you are not colliding into each other. But these molecules keep colliding into each other. Why won't you collide with each other?
Because you will try to avoid collision.
Right. And how can you try to avoid collisions? Through your programming? Through your programming? No. In intelligence, an order is automatically generated. In fact, lack of intelligence leads to disorder. Lack of intelligence leads to disorder. You see this disorder here? Even on roads that are the most densely packed with traffic, do you see cars bumping into each other? We don't see that. But molecules keep bumping into each other. Intelligence leads to its own order. Are you getting it? Please do not be afraid that out of intelligence, if I act, there will be randomness, disorder, anarchy. No, not at all. Because all of us are afraid, are intelligent, so we will not bump into each other. I'll now twist the tail a little. Now suppose two of your friends enter here who are drunk. And drunkenness is a state of the brain in which intelligence cannot function. The brain needs to be an appropriate seat for intelligence. If the brain is damaged or underdeveloped or intoxicated, inebriated, then intelligence cannot function. Getting it? So suppose two of your friends enter here who are drunk. Now what will happen in this room?
Yeah.
People will start colliding with each other. They will collide with somebody and then that person in turn will collide with somebody. Do you see this? So what causes disorder? What causes disorder? Lack of intelligence. Disorder does not come through intelligence. Friend, don't be afraid. Getting it? But disorder is the result of lack of intelligence. Which means, the repercussions of this are that in society, actually in a healthy society, you do not need rules. You do not need rules at all. What you need is, we need intelligent people. If people are intelligent, rules are not at all needed. And the more rule-driven a society is, the more unintelligent it is. So look at your life. If there is a lot of space for rules in your life, it only proves that you are. And if someone wants to impose rules on you, that only proves that he thinks that you are. And that proves that he is not. Are you getting it? Getting it? See, many a times this argument is advanced. That if everybody starts acting on his free will, then there will be chaos in the society. You will hear it from many people. कि हर कोई अपनी मर्जी से करने लग गया तो सोसाइटी में chaos हो जाएगा. नहीं, ऐसा बिल्कुल भी नहीं है. Free will से कभी chaos नहीं होता. Chaos यहाँ पर है. You see chaos here. It's not visible right now. But given the right kind of scientific instrument, you can actually watch that chaos. The molecular speeds are very high. We all know what is the range of RMS speeds. But still you can watch it. That chaos results from because these molecules are just what they are. Molecules. Matter in time and space. Like the brain. The brain is just like these molecules. The molecules are conditioned to move. The brain is conditioned to do other things. This is matter, this is matter. The brain is nothing but matter. Are you aware that every experience that you go through actually changes your brain? You see, you have a computer hard disk. You save something in it. Now is the hard disk same as what it was before you saved something? A few molecular configurations have changed. Are you getting it?
Yes, sir.
Yes.
In the process of saving something in the disk changes. Similarly, every experience that the brain records changes the brain. Brain is just matter. Every experience that it undergoes leaves a footprint on it. Changes it permanently. You can also call it the plasticity of brain. You understand plasticity? You change something and the deformation is permanent. The brain is like this. So you undergo an experience when you were 6 years old. That experience is with you and is also dominating your behavior in some way or the other. Not only when you're 6 years old. An experience that you had 40,000 years back is still with you. I'm not talking of rebirth and all that stuff. I'm talking of the journey of the brain. An experience that you had when you were a dinosaur is still with you. Still with you. when you were an amoeba, then you got burnt. You are still afraid of fire. Are you getting it? All those things are there in our every bit of our body. Every bit of our body. Are you getting it?
Yes. Yes.
So when we're a 2-year-old kid, when there's a 2-year-old kid, he has the brain but not intelligence.
Yes, correct.
He still is afraid. Now is not afraid of fire.
Oh, he
No,
is.
but initially he will go to, he
Out
will
of
get
curiosity.
attracted out of curiosity. What is it? He'll reach that fire. He'll go there.
Then what will happen?
When it will hurt him, then he'll come
Right.
back.
Then what will happen?
After that he'll get
Yes.
afraid.
The moment he feels that, rise in temperature and stuff affecting its skin, it's bound to recoil. It's bound to recoil.
But that is his now social, now is that he is learning. it
That is
now.
an experience that he has gathered right now.
Right.
That he has gathered right now. But there are 1,000 other things that he knows of since beginning. For example, beautiful faces and ugly faces. It has been demonstrated that even very small kids, say who are just a few days old, you show them a face of a particular configuration, they'll recoil. And you show them a face of another configuration, they'll be attracted. Now they have no experience in this lifetime. What makes them recoil? It's a memory coming from past. I just gave the example of rabbits. A 2-day-old rabbit which has never heard a snake hissing. You just bring to it the sound of a snake hiss and it gets alerted and wants to run away. Where is that knowledge coming from? It's stored knowledge. Are you getting it? How does a baby, for example, know that water is what it needs? And do you think that if instead of water you feed it benzene, it will be alright? We are programmed for certain things. We are programmed for certain things. Even a baby does not want to be left alone. Have you seen this? It wants company, human company. Just as the brain is always trying to identify with something. It's always feeling lonely. The brain is always feeling lonely. So whenever you feel lonely the next time, know that the animal past is at. This does not want to be left alone. It always wants to cling to something. Second question.
So, but in this question, leading an intelligent life will not lead to a programmed life or which has been experienced by the brain before. So, what about handling that kind randomness in the future, because that will be an unpredictable path in terms of not everyday randomness, but the unpredictable path you will follow in the life when
Its life is anyway unpredictable,
matlab, that's what the brain part starts dominating, you will not be secure.
See, life is unpredictable means new. Correct? That which you have not experienced before, that you call as. Now everything is new. Have you seen me earlier? The problem arises when you meet the new as if it is old. Now I come to you and what do you say? ये लो एक और आ गया, बहुत देखे हैं यार, बड़े लेक्चर करे हैं, आज फिर ऐसे एक और लेक्चर हो जाएगा. Now am I one of the old types? Well, every moment is fresh. I am bound to be fresh. But then how will you look at me? As if I am coming from the past. As if I belong to the same variety. Life isn't every moment new. What is happening right now, has it happened to you earlier?
No.
What is ever happening to you, has it happened earlier? But how do you come to it? The brain comes to it as if it is already there in the past. Because the brain knows nothing except the brain knows nothing except the past. It has no way of approaching the present. So how does the brain approach the present? It approaches the present as if it is a photocopy of the, and then there is a problem. Because he is Hari and I am approaching him as if he is Suresh. And who is Suresh? Someone from my past. Then can I know Hari? I know Suresh. I have no idea of who Hari is. So how do I approach Hari? As if he is Suresh. And now there is a great problem. There is a great problem. There is conflict, there is suffering. Not only so much. Even if he is Hari, I approach him as if he is the same Hari that he was 10 days back. Now, is he the same Hari that he was 10 days back? He is a new, fresh Hari today. Correct? But how do I approach him? Oh, yaar, isko to main janta hu, mera dost hai. That is what brain does. मैं तो जानता हूँ. Brain का काम है अपने knowledge के दायरे में रहना. And all knowledge comes from the past. Intelligence का काम है continuous knowing में रहना. And there is a great difference between knowledge and continuous knowing. Are you getting it? What is knowledge? What is knowledge?
Something gathered from the past.
And what is continuous knowing?
Present.
Present. Brain किस में रहता है? Knowledge. Knowledge. It has an accumulated knowledge और वो उसी में रहता है. और intelligence,
Present.
which is
Continuous knowing.
continuous knowing. Continuous knowing. ब्रेन रहता है रिलेशनशिप्स में जो कि सब पास्ट से चले आ रहे हैं. मम्मी पापा सोसाइटी कंट्री टीचर्स. आई नो इट. इट्स अ फिक्स्ड रिलेशनशिप. इट्स अ फिक्स्ड रिलेशनशिप. और इंटेलिजेंस किस में रहती है? सिर्फ अभी में. और उसमें सिर्फ एक रिलेटिंग होती है which is of love. The brain cannot know love. It can only know knowledge and dead relationships. It's intelligence that knows love. Because love is always right now. Love cannot be a carry forward from the past. Love cannot be a carry forward from the past. So, someone said, what's wrong in living like animal? Who was it? Disappeared.
Living like a computer.
No, where is my friend who said he was there? Is he gone? Oh. Now what's wrong in living like an animal? This! One of the biggest wrongs that will happen is that you will never know love. Because an animal, a machine, cannot know love. It can know a lot of other things. It can know attachment, it can know gratification, it can know lust, but it cannot know love. Only an intelligent being can know love. Because love is the joy of this moment. Getting deeply immersed in this moment, which cannot happen if the brain is dominating. Are you getting it? Brain does not want love and such things. The brain only needs. What does the brain need? Through objects, what does it want? Security, continuity. मुझे बचे रहना है किसी तरीके से. मैं ना रहूं तो मेरे बाद मेरे जैसे और रहे बच्चे. तो मुझे जिंदा रहना है और मेरे बाद मेरे बच्चों को जिंदा रहना है. ब्रेन को बस इतने से मतलब है. So all the brain wants is food and sex and security. Give me food, give me sex, and prevent me from death. Give me food, give me sex, and prevent me from death. Brain बस ये चाहता है. ब्रेन को आपके लिबरेशन से या आपके जॉय से कोई मतलब नहीं है. क्योंकि वो सारे काम किसके हैं? इंटेलिजेंस के काम. ब्रेन को आपकी अंडरस्टैंडिंग से भी कोई मतलब नहीं है. Yes, what was the next question?
So, how is the action of an intelligent being different from a normal person who is continuously using
It's
it?
very simple. The action of an intelligent being has very dependence on the future. It is fulfilled in this moment itself. You see, even if you are listening keenly to me, are you also desiring something for the future? At this moment, if you are listening keenly, are you also desiring something for the future? Now, this is the action of intelligence. Desires have vanished, right? Whereas those who are not listening keenly will be lost in thoughts, and all thoughts are in time and space. So they'll be thinking what will happen after 4:30 and this and that. What will I do after I go home on Diwali? They'll be lost in all kinds of thoughts, and that is the function of brain. So where does the activity of an intelligent man come from? It comes from understanding of this moment. And as you are understanding, you are also asking a question. It is just happening on its own. There is very little willpower involved in this. An intelligent being does not need willpower. Willpower is rubbish. Only in the domain of the brain are words like willpower and all valid. Are you getting it? If it is happening spontaneously out of my conditioning, who requires willpower? Why do I require willpower?
So the most intelligent person would be the one who is living in the present.
Yes. It is not about a person, you see. All of us do live in the present in a few moments. If we totally stop that, then we will die. Then we will become mad. We will go totally mad. It is just that out of 24 hours in a day, there are only a few moments when we are really attentive, when we are really intelligent. It's not about persons, it's about moments. Everybody is intelligent, but only for a few moments in the day. The rest of the time, we act like machines. Right now, many of us, you may be intelligent because a particular environment has been created here. At this moment, many of us might be intelligent. Why am I saying that many of us might be intelligent? Because, write down. Attention is the environment in which intelligence functions. Attention is the environment in which intelligence functions.
So if someone dies, or very near one, and the person is totally into that, so is he being intelligent at that moment? Means he's not thinking about any other thing other than that moment, that what has happened to him. So means only that thing matters to
See,
him.
no thought is an intelligent thought.
No, but if he's crying just for that thing.
No, intelligence is not focus. Talking of focus,
No, means if a very near one dies, so you'll cry, definitely you'll
no,
cry.
you see, why are you crying? The question arises, why are you crying? Crying is an emotion, right? Crying is an emotion.
Yes.
I'm feeling a particular sadness. I'm feeling a particular sadness. Where is this sadness coming from?
Past, the attachment we had.
Where is this sadness coming from? Which does not mean, of course, that an intelligent being doesn't cry or doesn't do anything and just sits like a Buddha. No, of course not. In fact, he is the one who really gets immersed into life, knows life to the maximum and enjoys it to the maximum. Only the intelligent mind does that. But then he is not a slave of life, he is a master of life.
So, but as you said that she is totally immersed into life, so that person who's crying is totally immersed into that emotion.
No, he is not immersed into life, he is immersed in memories. He is immersed in memories. Now, looking at a dead body can give you liberation. That's what happened with the Gautam Buddha. He looked at a dead body and he learned so much. There are so many deaths happening every day. And so many people look at those dead bodies. Do they get liberated? Do they get liberated? No. Because they don't look at those dead bodies. The moment they hear of death, what do? They go back into memories. They do not allow their intelligence to operate. Otherwise, looking at a dead body can be an experience which can give you so much. It can liberate you totally. You will come to know about life. We don't look directly at a dead body. In fact, our culture is such that we do not allow death to come close to us. We do not allow even the mention of death in our homes. कोई घर में ज़्यादा आप जाइए और मौत की बात करना शुरू कर दीजिए, माँ बाप को छोड़ ना, क्या बात कर रहा है। बॉडी मरने के बाद कैसी जाती है वो हम देखने भी नहीं देते बच्चों को, किसी भी लोगों को, बहुत लोगों को। बॉडी से बदबू आती है तो इसलिए उसके आसपास हम अगरबत्ती जला देते हैं, डेड बॉडी के आसपास। देखा आपने ये सब? उसको और सजा वगैरह देते हैं। Especially when women die, you really decorate them. We do not allow ourselves to see the true face of death. कि मरने के बाद यही शरीर जिसके पीछे आप इतने पागल रहते हो, यही शरीर कैसे फूल जाएगा, नीला पड़ जाएगा, बदबू देगा, सड़ जाएगा. We do not allow ourselves to look at that. In fact, till very recently, women were not allowed at शमशान घाट्स. औरतों को जाने नहीं देते घाट पे. बात पता है आपको?
Yes, sir.
Because if women look at the facts of life, then it will be very difficult for males to exploit them. अगर औरतों ने एक बार ये देख लिया कि this is what the truth of the body is, then the woman will find it very difficult to decorate herself and become desirable for the man. What does the man want? Man wants that the woman should remain desirable for me, right? वो अपने आप को पूरी तरह डेकोरेट करे, एमोरस लगे, इरोटिक लगे, सेक्सी लगे, यही तो चाहते हो ना? अब उसने अगर एक बार देख लिया कि शरीर की तो ये हालत होती है, ये है शरीर का सत्य, तो उसके बाद वो ये सब करेगी नहीं. तो इसलिए बहुत ज़रूरी था कि उसके सामने से ये सब बातें छुपा के रखी जाए.
So, but same thing can happen to a male, that when he sees all that, he can also become.
Yes, there is a possibility. That's what happened to the Buddha. But then we don't really look at it. See, looking at it means looking without thought, because all thought is in the past. Really looking at something means understanding, not thinking. कि ये मर गए, बड़े अच्छे आदमी थे, मेरे इनसे बड़ा अच्छा संबंध था. Looking means just looking, not thinking. Just as right now you are just listening. Are you also thinking? No. Similarly, looking at a dead body means just looking, not thinking. Not being lost in memories or hopes कि अब आगे क्या होना है. अच्छा, कभी आप जाओ कहीं पे, देखो ना कि कोई मर गया हो तो बातें कैसी हो रही होती हैं, फ्यूचर की बातें शुरू हो जाएंगी. अब इनकी प्रॉपर्टी का क्या होगा यार, पता है इनके 3 लड़के हैं. आई फियर दैट दे आर नाउ गोइंग टू हैव अ कोर्ट केस. हैज ही रिटन अ विल? ओ व्हाट विल हैपन टू द पुअर वाइफ? ओ इज शी वर्किंग समवेयर? नो, आर यू लुकिंग एट द डेड बॉडी? आर यू लुकिंग एट डेथ? नो, यू आर ऑलरेडी लॉस्ट इन फ्यूचर और यू आर इन द मेमोरीज ऑफ द पास्ट. यार ये बड़े अच्छे आदमी थे. You know what? Last year I needed around 2 lakh rupees and he was the only one who helped me. Are you looking at death? No. Memories. One moment of real attention can do wonders. But we don't look at life. As I said, he may be Hari, but how do I look at him? As if he is Suresh. The brain is incapable of looking at the reality. Write down. The brain is incapable of looking at the reality. Because the reality is in the present moment. And does brain live in the present moment? No. Where does it live?
Past or future.
Yes, what was the next question we had written?
How to remain intelligent?
How to?
Hold on to intelligence.
How to hold on to intelligence. You see, if I am intelligent, I understand. Most of all, I understand what is happening in my own mind, right? Of course, sitting here, limited by the inputs of my senses, I cannot understand what is happening in New York right now. I understand my own mind, right? I also see what distracts my mind. In the moment of intelligence, I can see what distracts me. If I can see what distracts me, then I can stay clear of it. That is what is called holding on to intelligence, holding on to attention. Appreciate this. Here you are, and I can see from your faces that at least some of you are keenly attentive right now, right? Now what will happen once you walk out of this room? You will again get lost in the crowd. In this moment, as you are attentive, you also know what takes away your attention, correct? Now, as you are attentive right now, and if he starts scratching you, or if he starts whispering something in your ear, won't you know that this is distracting me? And if you know that this is distracting me, you will also gently push him away. And you will say, I'm here. Kindly don't take me away from this moment. Are you getting it? Are you getting this? But this environment has been created by me. So it is quite likely that when I go away, this environment will also go away. And then, as I said, you will again get lost in the crowd. Then it will depend upon you how to hold on to intelligence. In fact, a better way of saying this is how to hold on to attention. Because intelligence is always there. Just as the brain is always there, intelligence is also always there. It is just that intelligence functions only in an environment of attention. So attention keeps coming and going. Attention requires a particular environment. You have to give yourself that environment. You have to give yourself that environment. Right now, I am giving you that environment. It is incumbent upon you to give yourselves that environment. That is your responsibility towards yourself.
So by attention you mean to observe and to understand.
Yes. Attention is that. You are knowing it, right? You know what attention is. This is attention. This is attention. Attention is the environment in which intelligence functions.
So, but the moment we are listening to you, we are also thinking of some questions.
You can't be listening then.
So, but if you are saying something, I'm understanding something, and then I'm asking something, that means I have, while understanding, there were some things that were coming into my mind that made me ask you something.
No, not really. You see, if you are hearing and parallelly you are also thinking, then you cannot be hearing, then you cannot be listening. Second thing that he is saying is, if I am not thinking, then how is it so that I am asking questions, right?
Yes.
Did you nod your head after thinking?
No.
No. So that means that action can happen without thought,
Yes.
right? So you can ask a question without thinking. That is called the spontaneity of intelligence. Just as you nodded your head without thinking, similarly you can ask a question without thinking. That is called the spontaneity of intelligence. That is called the instantaneous. Right now, I didn't have to think. I just asked. It is not a product of thought. It is not a product of brain. It is a product of understanding. You are again nodding, and again you are not thinking. So nodding can happen without thinking. Understanding is happening without thinking. Are you seeing this? Understanding is happening without thinking.
So is reflex action intelligent?
No, that is purely conditioned behavior. Absolutely conditioned behavior. Good question actually. See, absence of thinking does not necessarily mean intelligence. This camera also cannot think. That does not mean it is intelligence. No. Good that you pointed this out. A stone too cannot think. That does not mean it is intelligent. See, these are stages. There is complete absence of thought. Complete absence of thought. Then there is conditioned thought. then there is what is called as conscious thinking, and then there is understanding. Understanding means no thinking, and the stone at the bottommost place also cannot think. So not thinking is there and not thinking is here. Are you getting it? It's a full circle. You start with the stone that cannot think, and then you reach to a level of understanding where thought is not needed. And in between lies first random thought and then conscious thinking. For example, when you are solving a problem of mathematics, then what you are applying is conscious thinking. When you are solving a problem, then what you are applying is conscious thinking. When you are just sitting here and random thoughts are happening in your mind, these are random thoughts. So there is that bottommost level of the incapacity for thought, which is the example is stone. Then there is random thought, then there is conscious thinking, and then there is understanding, intelligence. Getting it?
So can conscious thinking be also part of intelligence?
Conscious thinking sublimates into intelligence. Conscious thinking is alright in the sense that you think, but that thinking soon disappears. You see, let's get into this. We are all solving a third order differential equation, right? Go very attentively into it and you will understand everything. We are solving a third order differential equation. How do we start? We start with thinking. Which is a part of thought.
Yes.
We are thinking. We are thinking. We start with thinking. Then go into the moment when you have gone really deep into it. Are you still thinking? All of us would have experienced that moment, right? There is you and there is the problem. And you are deeply into it. Are you still thinking? Or are just things happening on their own? Are you still thinking?
Happening on their own.
On their own. You start with thinking, then the intensity of thinking reduces till it becomes so little. Now there is just understanding. A point comes when thinking is a problem-solving mechanism of the brain. Now there is no problem. It's crystal clear. I have come to understanding. So conscious thinking is all right because it can move into understanding.
So are we saying that only humans have intelligence?
Only human beings have a brain that can be a seat for intelligence.
Even animals can be intelligent.
No, the brain has not yet reached that stage. Evolution has not yet taken them there. Even all human beings are not, the brain is not fully developed. You see, something can happen to your brain and then you'll be incapable of intelligent behavior. A baby, for example, the brain is not yet fully mature, so incapable of intelligent behavior. You see how distracted a baby is. One of the characteristics of intelligence is this attention thing. We said there's an environment of attention around intelligence. Baby is incapable of that. Yes, next question.
So one thing to make it. So there are philosophers which usually think about various topics. They only think and understand the topics. And so can we say that basically when they're spending time on thinking about life, thinking about their behavior.
See, through thinking, you can understand objects from the past. Through thinking, you can understand objects from the past, because all thought is about the but can any of you think about Spanish language?
No.
There is a problem written in the Spanish language. Think and solve it. Think and solve it. Can you do that? Thought can never help you approach the new. Because all thought comes from
Past.
Are you getting it? If there is a problem in the Spanish language, can you solve it using thought? You can't. So those philosophers who are, as you said, are thinking all the time, I don't know what you're saying, but let's say there is a person who is thinking all the time. It's possible that he, through the process of thinking, will learn more about the objects contained in the past. That is quite possible. That is quite possible. But he will never be able to address the new. And life is forever new. Moment to moment it is new. Getting it?
So, but sometimes we need facts from the past to implement.
Oh, of course. Thinking is a very useful capacity of the brain. By no chance are we trying to say that one should not think or something.
So, but random thoughts many times lead to some kind of new discoveries and inventions.
No, they can't. Random thoughts can't do that. Random thoughts are all external influences. They keep coming and going like traffic.
So, how someone gets a kind of good idea and means how someone processes an idea for anything means.
See, what is an idea? An idea is also a thought. It will again come from the past. We keep on using words like new idea. But no idea can ever be new. Because an idea is a thought. So if someone says, I have a new idea, he is acting foolishly and is lying. No, not really lying. He doesn't understand. He doesn't understand what he's saying. There are no new ideas. There are no new ideas. The only thing new is understanding. And that understanding is observation. Did Newton invent gravity?
You
Did
observe.
Newton invent gravity? Gravity exists since the time there is mass. Right? There is mass, there is gravity. Correct? What did Newton do? He just observed. And he observed it like a child. He observed it as one observes something for the first time. What do? We said he is Hari. But I look to him as if he is Suresh. So apples keep falling. And how do we look at it? ये तो होता ही है, कल भी हुआ था, परसों भी हुआ था.
So, but what about the calculus he gave? That was not what he observed. That was something came from his mind or whatever thing.
It all will come from the mind. If there is no past, if there is no brain, we can't even talk. Because language comes from the past. Language comes from the past. But will language give us the understanding that you have right now? Will language give you that? Language will come from the past, alright. Stored knowledge has its utility. But it cannot help you approach life. Life is new, forever new. We are not denying here the importance of past knowledge. If you do not have past knowledge, you cannot go back to your hostel. Are you getting it? Can you? How will you go back? How will you know the route? All that comes from your past. If you don't have past knowledge, you can't dial a mobile phone. You won't even know that this is called a mobile phone. Ghazni. Finished. So, a healthy brain prevents you from becoming Ghazni. But then, just remembering the past will not enable you to live the present. The present is an altogether different and magnificent thing. Are you getting it? No?
A different question from that. So, what is motivation?
You tell me what is motivation.
Does it focus on brain's part or intelligence?
You tell me. Motivation is greed. Simple. You do this, you'll get something. Motive. There's a motive. A target, a purpose. So what is motivation then?
Brain
Focus
part.
on brain part.
when you look at it closely, you will see that so much of it which we used to hold so important, so sacred in our life, turns out to be mere animal behavior. It is very possible to motivate animals. In fact, animals can only be motivated. They can have no understanding, but you can very easily motivate them. Have you seen that carrot in front of the donkey?
Yes.
That is what is called motivation. That is motivation. So those of us who feel highly motivated, how many of us?
What about passion?
Yes, sir.
What is passion? You tell me what is passion.
Passion is something like which tells like, look, we are like crazy about it. Like we want.
You
Right.
have got it.
We
Haven't you
just want
seen
to-
animals crazy about things?
No, it's not just about a thing. Like they can be passion for like learning a thing, understanding like few things. Then
Like what? Like what? You
Like,
see, you are.
I have passion for like knowing about different things like
About. And that about is an object, right? That about is an object. You see, I was born in Afghanistan. And there were all kinds of terrorists around me. Now I have a passion for. I was born in India, so I am passionate about cricket, as every other Indian is. Will I be passionate about cricket if I was born in Brazil? Then I'll be passionate about? Don't you see what passion is? I'm born with a male body, so I'm passionate about girls. I'm born with a female body, so I'm passionate about boys. Don't you see what passion is? Don't you see what passion is? External influence, what else?
but then every intelligent being is like passionate about
Yes, sir.
some subject.
Who told you?
Like Albert Einstein was passionate.
First of all, not subject, object. You are the subject. Any external thing is object. This had, you see, it is a great fallacy of language to call something outside of yourself as the subject. You are the subject. Understanding is the subject. Everything else is an object.
He was like passionate about physics.
But
That's
not
why
really,
he,
not really. You don't know Einstein then. Einstein was active in religion, in philosophy, in music. Physics was just one of his endeavors.
but then he left religion.
What do you mean by left religion?
Like, he then no longer believed in.
Come on, it's not a belief. The intelligent man has no beliefs. Well, because all beliefs come from the past. He just knows. There is difference between knowing and believing. Do you understand knowing and believing? If I am blind, then I need to believe that there is a door there. But if I have eyes, then do I need to believe that there is a door there? I will know. Religion is not believing. Any intelligent man is bound to be religious. Every intelligent man is religious because religion is intelligence. Religion is knowing. Religion is not belief. कि मंदिर जाना है, मस्जिद जाना है, वो सब religion नहीं होता.
So whatever theories he gave, was that the product of his intelligence or the brain part?
See, nothing can come from the brain. Information can be given from brain. For example, I give you a particular information, say a sum in mathematics. A sum in mathematics is a particular information, right? Data. Do you see? Do you see? This is data. Then working upon that data, that is intelligence. That is intelligence.
Sir, he has asked about passion. So I want to say that the great things in this world are achieved by those persons who were passionate throughout their life and
बेटे ये सब बातें भी ना तुमको बाहर से किसी ने बता दी हैं कि पैशनेट लोग अचीव करते हैं. नहीं, पैशनेट नहीं अचीव करते. हम सब बहुत पैशनेट हैं. हम में से कौन ऐसा है जो पैशनेट नहीं है? ये दुनिया पैशनेट लोगों से ही भरी हुई है.
अलग अलग चीजों के लिए.
हाँ, और उससे क्या हो रहा है? उससे क्या हो रहा है? उससे क्या हो रहा है? तुम देखो ना, तुम्हारे पैशन बाहर से आते हैं, व्हाट यू कॉल एज पैशन, इंटरेस्ट, हॉबी, व्हाटएवर, वो सब बाहर से आता है और बाहर से ही बदल भी जाता है। तुम आज जिस चीज के बारे में पैशनेट हो कल नहीं थे, और आज जिस चीज के बारे में पैशनेट हो कल भी नहीं रहोगे, क्योंकि वो किसी इन्फ्लुएंस से आया है। जब वो इन्फ्लुएंस नहीं रहेगा तो पैशन भी गायब हो जाना है। हाँ, आज तुमको ऐसा ही लगता है दैट यू नो आई एम सो पैशनेट अबाउट यू, आई विल नेवर लीव यू। टुमारो यू फाइंड अनदर गर्ल हु इज मोर, then you forget all your passion because you see it's all